there. It's a new year and a new Nth Degree. We're talking about the latest trends, technologies, and innovations happening across the healthcare and media spaces. I'm Amanda Preto, and I can't think of a better way to ring in the new year than Oleg Korenfeld and Mark Pappas, who are here fresh back from CES. Hey, Oleg, we hear a lot about the flying toilets and maybe even some surprise technology that'll surprise the audience as much as it surprised me. How about if you start by sharing what you saw as the top 3 themes this year at CES?
Absolutely. So CES is such a large conference. I don't think there is just one way to think about the technology that is presented there and discussed there. I will focus primarily on the ad tech and martech parts of the CES conference. The technologies specifically are designed and built for marketers. And within that category, there's 3 topics that really jumped out at me. One is the sustainability technology for marketers. We feel at this point the time has come where we can now look at all the tech that is used to plan and activate media and see where can we become more responsible and how do we measure it. So there's been a lot of conversation, a lot of technology presented to allow us to do just that. How do we build just the right ad tech stacks to run a very responsible media planning activation business? The second type of technologies that were interesting to me were all around programmatic supply management. Historically speaking, in programmatic, buyers often relied on what I would call middleware solutions like DSPs, demand-side platforms, and supply-side platforms to help us manage and optimize media when we activate it programmatically. At this point in our evolution, we feel as buyers we have to have much more control over supply aggregation and curation. And the technologies that are available to us right now, the technologies we need to establish ourselves and build, is something that really popped at this year's CES. And the third piece, obviously, we cannot go to anything technologically related right now without talking about AI. But I want to focus on AI specifically around automation of any kind of tasks within this planning and buying process. And the technology that's been presented to us and technology that is available that we've been using at CMI already for a couple of years, but now we see even more opportunities around it, is taking these machine learning algorithms and applying it to every process that historically been very manual and now can be automated. And how does that application of that technology changes the process moving forward? What kind of skill sets we now need to think about when we build our staff plans and so forth. So I would say those are the 3 key ad and martech elements that I thought of when I was at CES.
That's amazing, Oleg. Everyone, you can read more about what Oleg and Mark and the rest of our team experienced in the report that we're launching around CES as well. So Mark, let's hear from you. I made a joke about flying toilets. That seems to be something that keeps coming up as we talk about what you all saw and your takeaways from CES.
Sadly, there weren't flying toilets. There was smart bidets that actually provide medical, I shouldn't say treatment, but basically medical readouts and things like that, which I'm not going to get into too much on this video. But some of the things that impressive to me was the OnMed Care Station, which I have props. It's basically the size of, it's probably about twice the size of a phone booth for those of you that remember what those are. Maybe it's like the size of like a breastfeeding station that they might have set up at events and things like that. Basically, a user walks into this booth. There's a large screen and they're connected with a live physician over video. There's a lot of sensors embedded within the mirror and within the walls of this booth to be able to provide a lot of diagnostic information. If the doctor needs to use a stethoscope or do like an ear exam, there are attachments in there that basically they literally drop from the ceiling. You hold them up and the doctor can see whatever you're looking at. And then they can prescribe the treatment right there during your visit. So it's basically combining the best of in-person care with the convenience of telehealth. And these are able to be deployed pretty much anywhere from, hotel lobbies to, parking lots to other big box stores. And the whole point of these is to provide medical care in medical deserts, which is a large portion of the United States, especially as you get into more rural areas where there's no specialists or treatment centers. They can deploy one of these clinics in a box basically and have it set up in very little time and a very small footprint, providing care to a lot of people that need it. And then, as Oleg mentioned, AI is basically in everything. Last year, I feel like at CES, a lot of companies were just trying to shoehorn AI into their products to say that they had it. But now it seems that it's definitely evolved and become useful. A lot of the smart TVs, they have built-in AI assistants now where if you see a location during a show, you ask about that location and it basically tells you all about it, and then even builds you a travel itinerary. It can book you flights and hotels from the TV. One of the crazier examples that we saw was there was a TV show with a family eating dinner around a table, and you literally ask your TV, what is that, or what are they eating, and it pulls up interactive recipes for whatever was like shown like that they were eating, which was kind of crazy. And it literally had down the side of the screen like the recipes for every item of food that was on that table. It's cool and everything like that, but there's a mountain of data that's going to be generated that we could potentially tie into, because everything is going to be tied to a user account when they set up these TVs. So it just expand the data set that we have at our disposal in new and interesting ways. And finally, the one thing that I think most people that were following along with CES at home saw was the ridiculous amount of AI robots, assistants, whatever you want to call them, at your house. And these range from the Bali robot that we saw from Samsung, which is like a cute little ball that follows you around the house and can project movies for you on your walls, to some very bizarre Black Mirror style, like humanoid robots that look like, Terminator's about to start, to the human companion robots, which, again, I'm not going to get into too much on this call, but it was a wide range of robots with varying degrees of functionality, all with AI built in to try and help make your life easier in different ways.
Yeah, that's amazing, Mark. I feel like we've used the word crazy throughout this conversation a few times. It's crazy amazing. I think it's crazy cool to think about the story we tell all the time, the ways in which technology will support the human touch, all for the betterment of healthcare patients, getting healthcare providers what they need.
Yeah, and I think like one of the things that, to touch on what you just mentioned, is that, there's a lot of cool stuff there. And like, obviously, we're not going to have our clients, at least not yet, doing anything with a humanoid AI-powered robot following them around the house. But it's ridiculously refreshing and inspiring for all of our clients that were there. And even though we're showing them, some AI-powered TV, next thing you know, it triggers a conversation that we wouldn't have had it not been there, and kind of like brought up like an idea. And just, being able to show them a lot of these new cool hands-on products and get like kind of take the pharma blinders off. It was really inspiring to like all of our clients. And, I know for myself, and I'm sure for Oleg and everyone else from the team that was there, we just come back like really like recharged, refreshed, and like inspired from all the craziness that we saw, to see like how we could potentially leverage something, and like with a random idea that could pop up from some product that we saw that we would never use, but it would start the, the thought process of going down like another rabbit hole. That's something we actually would use with our clients, and just seeing their reaction, because it's one thing for us like this to talk about it, but having our clients there and being able to show them how these things are being used in the real world, I think that was really what was the most eye-opening for the clients of ours that were there.
All right, lightning round, and this is a curveball. Oleg, 3 words or less. Why do our health brands, why do our pharma clients need to be either attending CES or paying attention to the outcomes from CES?
Innovation and curiosity.
Experiential, inspiration, and change.
That's awesome. It sounds that way. All right. Thank you both so much for such a cool and inspiring conversation. That is a wrap on our recap of CES 2025, but that is not all. Look for more thought leadership coming from CMI Media Group and the rest of our team on the scene. We will see you soon. Thanks for joining the Nth Degree.